If you're new here, I have spent, I think it's either the last 4 or 5. I've spent the last 4 or 5 summers traveling abroad. So it's almost that time of year where I start planning where I'm going to be for this summer. More than likely, it's looking like Jordan, possibly Egypt, and like Turkey and maybe like Albania across like 60 days. And I feel like I just want to rip really quickly and answer the most common questions I get. Number one, how did I get into traveling? When I first started making 6 figures selling cars, I had a boss that was half Hungarian and half German, and another boss that just like traveled a bunch. And he introduced me to the hostel lifestyle and made it really affordable. So I think that was like in 2017. Before I traveled for the first time internationally, I had only been on a plane once. So like let's say call it twice, round trip twice. So when I flew to Paris, that was like my third time on a plane ever. I found a really good deal. I think it was like $350 Paris round trip for 2 weeks. And I literally had to get my passport after that. Second most common question, how do I travel alone? You just fucking deal with it. It's literally the same as like going to the grocery store, going to the gym. Like if you do something alone, you can travel alone. Do I get anxious? Am I scared? Am I nervous? Like absolutely, but you exercise a moderate amount of caution. Like I have like certain rules that I abide by whenever I travel, but you just can't let those feelings stop you. Third question that I get is like, how do you afford to travel? You make the same way you make time for people that you care about, you can set aside money for things that you care about. In the same way, that you prioritize other things, you can I prioritize my car and I prioritize traveling. That's what I like to spend money on. I have an apartment that's like well below my means. I skimp in a lot of other areas so that I can afford my car and so that I can afford to travel, because those are the two things that are important to me. And when it comes to traveling, I would say don't knock it until you try it, specifically hostels. And the second thing is don't get hung up on locations. If a location's been sold to you as an American, particularly Italy, there are other countries than Italy. There are other countries than Spain. There are other countries than England. There are other countries than Turks and Caicos. There are other countries than Jamaica. I always tell people all the time, if Americans would stop being hung up on a specific location, you would probably have the best. The places I've been that people don't talk about in America that much: Vietnam, Montenegro, Mexico. Everybody's always like, is Mexico safe? I've been to 35 countries. Mexico is my favorite country. Morocco, I feel like Morocco isn't advertised. I just go off the beaten track. Should I make this a series?